My dear friend, what if I told you right now that you are surrounded this very moment by a power that no evil can touch, no fear can enter, and no danger can break through? There is a secret place, not across the ocean, not in a distant temple, but right within you. A sacred space where divine intelligence watches over you, where angels are charged concerning you, and where no terror, no plague, no arrow of doubt can reach you. You have access to this secret place, this spiritual fortress, every single day. Psalm 91 is not just ancient poetry. It is divine law encoded in sacred rhythm. It is your legal protection under spiritual jurisdiction. And if you dwell in this place, not merely visit it, but dwell in it, you live beyond fear and danger. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High lives beyond fear and danger. The phrase, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High, is not merely poetic, it is spiritual instruction. The word dwelleth implies continuity, not a temporary visit. It does not say, he that occasionally enters, or he that runs in and out, but he that dwelleth. This is a state of consciousness, a condition of spiritual alignment, where the presence of the divine becomes your inner dwelling place. It is a shift from outer dependence to inner realization. The secret place is not a geographic location. You cannot find it on a map, nor is it marked by signs. It is within your own soul. It is the sacred center of your being, the sanctuary of stillness, where the noise of the world cannot reach. When you live from this inner place, you are beyond the jurisdiction of fear, lack, violence, and confusion. You do not simply read about safety. You know it. You don't merely hope for peace. You radiate it. Now, the Most High refers to the infinite intelligence, the absolute good, the God presence that governs all creation. To dwell in the secret place of the Most High is to consciously align your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs with this infinite power. It means you are not living at the level of surface appearances. You are not reacting to circumstances, news reports, or the opinions of others. You are anchored in the truth of God's omnipresence, and in that awareness, fear cannot breathe. Living beyond fear and danger is not reckless denial. It is spiritual mastery. It is understanding that fear has no real power, except the power you give it. Fear is a belief in a power other than God. But when you dwell in the secret place, you have no need to fear, because you recognize there is only one presence, and that presence is absolute good. You do not fight fear. You dissolve it by dwelling deeper in truth. You do not plead for protection. You know it is your divine inheritance. This state of divine dwelling transforms your entire vibration. People can feel it. You walk into a room, and peace enters with you. Your aura becomes a field of calm, and your path becomes clear. The so-called dangers of the world may still exist on the surface, but they cannot touch you. Why? Because you are not living on that level. You are in the high tower of spirit. You are in the frequency of divine law, and that law is immune to chaos. The secret place is accessed through prayer, meditation, and conscious recognition. Every time you turn inward and affirm, God is here, God is now, I am safe, you step into the secret place. Every time you reject fear and replace it with truth, you dwell there longer, and the more you dwell, the less the outer world disturbs you. This is not escapism. It is the highest form of spiritual responsibility, to stay rooted in God when the world demands panic. He that dwelleth in the secret place understands that his protection is not circumstantial. It is spiritual. It does not come from locks, alarms, or insurance, though those may have their place. True protection comes from knowing that your life is governed by divine order. It is surrounded by divine intelligence. You are not just protected, You are protection in motion, because the one who protects lives through you. This level of dwelling cannot be faked. It cannot be simulated with words alone. It must be cultivated. It must be lived. But once it becomes your dwelling place, no fear can find you. You have relocated your awareness from the valley to the mountain, from confusion to clarity, from danger to dominion. And in that space, the outer world no longer dictates your inner peace. Declare boldly, God is my refuge and fortress, and your word becomes law. Words are not empty. Words are creative forces. They are seeds planted in the soil of the subconscious, and every seed bears fruit after its kind. When you declare boldly that God is my refuge and my fortress, you are not simply reciting a verse. You are issuing a spiritual command. You are impressing your subconscious with a law of safety, stability, and divine covering. That statement, charged with belief and emotion, becomes a shield around your life. To declare boldly is to speak with faith, with conviction, with authority. You are not begging God for help. You are affirming that help is already present. You are not pleading with a distant deity. You are awakening the infinite power within you. You are making a decree, and as ancient wisdom teaches, thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee. Every bold declaration becomes a spiritual blueprint, a vibration that shapes the conditions of your experience. Refuge means a place of safety, a hiding place, a sanctuary. It is the inner knowing that no matter what storm may rage around you, you are on fortress, means a stronghold, an unbreakable defense. This is not a weak hope. It is an unshakable knowing. When you declare God as your fortress, you are saying that no external force has power over your life. You are sealed by divine law. You are shielded by spiritual certainty. The moment you make such a declaration, something shifts. Your mind begins to align with that truth. Your emotions calm. Your body relaxes. Your environment starts to respond. Why? Because the universe is a mirror, and your words are the commands that set the mirror into motion. What you declare, you eventually demonstrate. What you affirm with feeling, you begin to attract and embody. Many people approach prayer and protection with a hope-filled attitude, saying things like, I hope God protects me, or maybe everything will be okay. But in the spiritual dimension, hope is only the first rung of a ladder. Certainty is the peak. Surely means you must graduate from wishing into knowing. You move from doubt into conviction. You let go of the wavering thought and take hold of unwavering truth. The divine law of protection is not partial. It does not flicker on and off like a faulty light switch. It is steady. It is always active, but it requires your alignment. The moment you believe in its reality, you activate it in your life. That activation doesn't come by begging. It comes by believing. Surely he shall deliver thee becomes your inner conviction. You walk with it. You think with it. You breathe with it. Now consider the phrase, the snare of the fowler. In ancient times, the fowler was the bird catcher. The snare was a trap laid in secret, designed to be invisible. In modern life, the snares are often mental. Fear, anxiety, confusion, false beliefs, subconscious programming. These traps are set by appearances, by conditioning, by mass hysteria. But the Word says surely you will be delivered from them. Not because you avoid life, but because you transcend the traps of limitation through divine wisdom. To be delivered from the snare means you are lifted above the frequency where harm operates. You are guided away from entanglement. You receive insights before trouble arrives. You take inspired actions without even knowing why, and only later realize you were steered around a danger. That is divine protection in action. Not always loud or dramatic, but always perfect in its timing and execution. The certainty of this promise demands a shift in your language. You no longer say, "I hope I'm protected." You say, "Surely I am protected." You no longer say, "I hope I don't fall into that trap." You say, "Divine wisdom guides me." Every cell of your body, every corner of your consciousness must begin to reflect this certainty. That is how the subconscious mind accepts the idea and reproduces it as experience. When you dwell in this certainty, your life begins to show the fruits of spiritual law. You are less reactive, more intuitive. You walk through situations that would scare others, yet remain calm. You go into places where people expect harm, and come out untouched. Why? Because you are no longer operating at the level of fear. You are functioning from the altitude of truth. And when you believe in that certainty, you no longer need signs and wonders to convince you. You walk by faith, not by sight. You may not see the snare, but you know it will not catch you. You may not hear the warning, but you know the angels are guiding you. This is the peace that passes understanding. This is the protection that needs no explanation. Certainty is the energy of spiritual authority. It is the magnetic force that draws safety to you, that changes how people treat you, how events unfold around you. You become a living demonstration of this psalm, not just in crisis, but in everyday life. You live under divine contract, and your signature is your trust. Under divine wings, surrender brings supernatural covering. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. This is not the language of cold theology. This is the voice of spiritual intimacy. The image of feathers and wings is not childish. It is symbolic. It evokes deep protection, soft assurance, the gentle shield of the infinite surrounding you completely. When you trust under divine wings, you are not just protected, you are embraced. This metaphor of wings speaks to the maternal nature of God, the nurturing side of the divine that does not just rule, but cares. It shields, it warms, it guards. Just as a mother bird hides her young under her wings, so too does divine presence shelter you, not from fear alone, but from the very vibration that creates fear. You are covered not just physically, but energetically. Spirit shields your mind, your emotions, your body. To trust under divine wings means to surrender. But surrender here does not mean giving up. It means giving over. You release the burden of control, the tension of overthinking, the worry of what might happen. You trust not because you are weak, but because you recognize a higher strength that is already in place. That trust becomes the doorway through which divine protection rushes in. The wings of God do not fail. They do not flap in panic. They remain extended at all times. But it is your trust that draws you underneath them. You must willingly step into the shelter. You must declare, "I choose divine protection." Trust is not passive. It is an act of will, a discipline of thought, a devotion of conscience. You may look at your surroundings and say, "But there is danger." You may listen to the news and feel panic rising, but when you dwell under the wings, the outer storm cannot reach the inner sanctuary. The danger may be near, but it is not near you. You have changed locations, not in body, but in vibration. You have relocated to the secret shelter. This trust is not built overnight. It is cultivated. It begins with small moments. Choosing peace over panic. Choosing faith over fear. Choosing truth over reaction. Every time you do that, your trust deepens, and the deeper the trust, the stronger the shield. You no longer need constant signs or outer validation. You live in quiet assurance. You do not explain your peace. It simply radiates, and under those wings you also receive guidance. You are not hiding. You are listening. Inspiration comes. Warnings arrive in dreams or sudden impulses. Right decisions appear as if by instinct. That's not chance. It's divine intelligence, working through your surrendered trust. You no longer push or force. You flow with the rhythm of spirit, and in that flow, protection is automatic. Many people ask, how can I be sure I'm safe? The answer is when you trust the covering. You don't need constant reassurance. You feel the warmth. You sense the presence. You are no longer looking for a safety net. You're resting under wing. You move through your day with an inner quietness. Others may scramble, but you are still. Others may worry, but you are grounded. The feathers of God are not made of fluff. They are woven with truth. Every principle you've learned, every affirmation you've spoken, every silent prayer you've uttered, becomes part of that covering. You've built your shelter with your consciousness. You've activated it with your trust. And once you're there, you are no longer concerned about what lies beyond. The outer world may shout, but you are resting in divine silence. And as you rest under that covering, your entire life begins to change. Not just in moments of crisis, but in your relationships, your work, your health, your thoughts. You are no longer exposed to the chaos. You are enveloped in divine order. Your trust becomes your strongest defense, not because it removes all danger, but because it places you where danger cannot reach. Fear is false hypnosis. Truth is your armor against night terrors. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day. These words do not deny the existence of terror or danger. They deny its authority over you. The phrase does not say there will be no fearsome things, but it declares you shall not be afraid. This is not a suggestion. It is a spiritual command, a divine assurance that fear is not your portion. Fear is a form of hypnosis. It entrances the mind, paralyzes reason, and projects disaster where none exists. It is often not reality itself, but the mind's distortion of what could go wrong. Most of the things people fear never happen. The mind creates shadows and magnifies them, making them seem larger and more dangerous than they are. It is not the external event that damages, it is the internal agreement with fear. Fear begins as a thought, an image, a possibility, a story. If that thought is entertained long enough, it becomes a belief. That belief then forms a lens through which the person sees the world. They begin to expect danger, to brace for disappointment, to anticipate trouble. And what you consistently expect, you tend to experience, not because the universe is cruel, but because consciousness is creative. But the psalm says, "Thou shalt not be afraid." That is your divine instruction. You are not to entertain fear. You are not to welcome it. You are to reject it, like a foreign virus entering your mind, not with force, not with resistance, but with awareness. You replace fear with truth. Truth becomes your armor. And what is the truth? That God is with you, that you dwell in the secret place, that divine intelligence governs your life, that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. The terror by night represents the unseen, the unknown, the things you cannot predict or prepare for. Night is the realm of uncertainty. It is when the conscious mind rests and the subconscious rises. It is also the time when suppressed fears tend to surface. Night terrors are not just about sleep. They are about the subconscious rising with images of lack, danger, sickness, abandonment. But when your subconscious is saturated with truth, it cannot be shaken by illusion. To be free from fear is not to be ignorant of the world. It is to live above the frequency of panic. It is to know that your inner climate determines your outer experience. Even if 1,000 around you give in to fear, you stand still. You are armored with the awareness of truth. You do not react. You respond with presence, poise, and power. Truth is the antidote to fear. Truth says, I am safe. Truth says, divine wisdom governs every step I take. Truth says, there is no power in fear. All power belongs to God. When you affirm these truths, when you meditate on them and let them take root in your consciousness, they form a spiritual immune system that blocks fear from entering. The arrow that flies by day represents the sudden attack, the unexpected problem, the criticism, the hostility, the harsh words, the events that come without warning. But again, the word declares, you shall not be afraid. That means you are divinely equipped to remain unshaken. You do not collapse when arrows fly. You rise. You do not break under pressure. You transcend it. This freedom from fear is not passivity. It is not detachment or denial. It is spiritual maturity. You have trained your mind to remain centered in God. You have built a fortress of truth within you. So even when the world trembles, you do not. Your emotions obey your spirit. Your body reflects your peace. Your environment begins to echo the calm you carry. You are not hypnotized by the world's headlines. You are not swayed by statistics, by trends, by predictions of doom. You are rooted in the unchanging truth of divine protection. You are not afraid of terror, day or night, because you know the source from which you live. That source does not sleep. It does not abandon. It does not fail. You are governed by higher laws, not the panic of the crowd. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. This is one of the most staggering promises in all of Scripture. It paints a picture of chaos, of collapse, of widespread trouble, and yet the one who dwells in the secret place is untouched, not harmed, not grazed, not affected. It shall not come near you. This is not favoritism, it is spiritual law. The world operates on the laws of the natural, but the one who walks with God operates on the laws of the supernatural. You are governed not by outer events, but by inner alignment. The panic of the crowd does not dictate your protection. The fear of the masses does not determine your future. You live in a different jurisdiction. In times of crisis, people tend to look horizontally at what others are doing, at what's happening around them, at what they're losing or missing. But the one who walks in spiritual awareness looks vertically toward divine truth, toward inner guidance, toward higher principles. You do not look to the world to feel safe. You look to God, and that looking lifts you out of the frequency of fear. When the masses fall into fear, they create a collective vibration of panic. That panic spreads like a virus. People act irrationally, make poor decisions, and attract the very things they dread. But when you are rooted in truth, you become immune to that energy. You are surrounded by divine intelligence, and that intelligence cannot be penetrated by mass suggestion. You are not governed by what is common. You are governed by what is true. You do not follow the herd. You follow the Spirit. You are led by inner promptings, by divine timing. by intuitive wisdom that comes not from your intellect, but from the presence within you. That presence sees what the world cannot see. It anticipates what the world cannot predict, and it leads you in ways the world cannot understand. This psalm is not promising that danger will not exist. It is promising that you will be above it. You will walk through the same environment as others, but you will have a different experience. You may be in the same place, but not in the same consciousness. Others may fall, but you will stand, not because you are better, but because you are aligned. Your vibration does not match fear. Your field is encoded with faith. This kind of protection is invisible, but undeniable. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's as simple as leaving a place 5 minutes early, without knowing why, or saying no to a project that others rush into, or choosing rest instead of stress, and later discovering you were shielded from burnout or accident. You don't need to know every detail. You just need to stay aligned. And that alignment means living by higher laws. The law of divine order. The law of right timing. The law of cause and effect on the spiritual level. You sow trust. You reap peace. You sow truth. You reap protection. You sow awareness. You reap guidance. These are not man-made rules. They are universal principles. And once you operate by them, the laws of panic no longer apply to you. You no longer take your emotional cues from headlines, statistics, or the trembling voices around you. You listen to the still small voice within, and that voice says you are safe, you are guided, you are covered. That voice becomes louder than the noise of the world, and as it does, you find yourself walking through storms that don't touch you, through crises that do not collapse you, through shaking that only roots you deeper in truth. You are not denying reality. You are choosing a higher reality. You are not ignoring the world. You are transcending it. While others fall into confusion, you stand in clarity. While others yield to fear, you rise in faith. You are governed by a wisdom that sees the end from the beginning, and that wisdom walks before you, lights your path, and surrounds your every step. Making God your habitation is living daily in truth consciousness, because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. This means God is not your emergency exit, but your permanent dwelling. To make God your habitation is to live in continual awareness of divine presence, not just during prayer, but as a way of life. Your thoughts, emotions, and actions flow from truth. You don't visit peace, you live in it. You're not seeking protection, you're immersed in it. Every moment becomes sacred. Every challenge filtered through the knowing that God is here now within. The world may pull at your senses, but your soul remains anchored in spiritual reality. Invisible forces are always guiding, guarding, and governing your path. For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. These angels are not just winged beings. They represent divine ideas, inner promptings, sudden clarity. They are unseen forces that arrange timing, shift circumstances, and lead you away from danger before you even recognize it. They operate beyond logic, yet perfectly. When you're in tune with Spirit, these forces activate without your effort. You are not alone. Not guessing, your path is spiritually supervised. Love magnetizes divine protection. It is your spiritual shield. Because he hath set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. Love is not just emotion. It's alignment with the highest power. When you set your love upon the divine, you place your full trust, your devotion, your attention on the source of all life. This love becomes a magnetic force that draws protection, favor, and guidance. It creates a vibration that fear cannot penetrate. The one who truly loves the divine doesn't live in worry, because perfect love casts out fear. It becomes your shield, your compass, your invisible armor in every situation. Long life and salvation are promises activated by belief in inner alignment. With long life will I satisfy him, and show him my salvation. This is more than physical longevity. It is fullness of life, wholeness, divine fulfillment. Salvation is not only the saving of the soul, but the complete preservation of spirit, mind, and body. It is freedom, danger, lack, confusion. When you live in alignment with divine truth, this salvation becomes visible in your health, your relationships, your peace, and your purpose. Beloved, you have now walked through the gates of Psalm. You've seen that protection is not a distant promise. It is a present reality. You've learned that to dwell in the secret place is to move out of fear and into divine certainty. You've spoken the sacred declaration, God is my refuge and my fortress. And as you declared it, spiritual law began moving on your behalf. You understand now that God's protection is not wishful thinking. It is a contract sealed with surely. You've come to know that trust is not weakness. It is surrender to higher strength, where you rest under divine wings and receive guidance from invisible forces. You've realized that fear is false hypnosis, and truth is your armor. That when the world collapses, you remain anchored, because you are governed by higher laws, not the panic of the crowd. You've made the divine your habitation, not just your emergency call. And because of that love you've set upon the infinite, divine deliverance surrounds you. And finally you've claimed the full promise, not just long life, but satisfying, meaningful, guided life. A life full of salvation, wellness, peace, and divine completion. Psalm 91 is not outside of you. It is you awakened. Let this be your daily dwelling place. Speak it, think it, live it, and let protection become your